Darwinism or anything, that's all a theory. I mean, I believe
It's not a theory.
evolution. Darwinism is a theory.
Both
Darwinism,
Darwinism.
It is.
Darwinism has never been proven.
I'm a sucker.
I take it-
There's been a lot of research on, and it's a lot more than a theory now. It's been taught.
Yeah, it's a lot more than a theory,
It's
but it
more
is
than- but
still
there
a
is-
theory.
There is no solid proof that
There's been a
Darwinism
lot.
happened. I've taken biology and evolution, and I mean, there
Yeah.
isn't anything.
My
there's
father had a
nothing.
PhD in physiology, and he taught me a lot of stuff down the road.
I've never seen it,
So-
and I've,
studying-
And you should look online about Gregor Mendel.
right, Mendel, I know a lot about.
Mendel.
But,
And he was a monk, and he was a physicist,
right,
and other stuff.
and the
He's
pea
a very
plants,
smart guy.
and like, I'm really familiar with him.
Yeah.
But I believe in evolution in terms of, I know when humans, because I believe in creationism, so I mean, I know when humans were put on the earth, they weren't as refined as we are right now. So obviously we evolved into these humans, and
Homo
So-
sapiens sapiens, to
Exactly.
be exact.
thank you. And I know we evolved into this because we didn't look like this immediately. Like Adam and Eve didn't look like this.
Mhm.
So I know,
You
Unfortunately.
mean Lilith?
Yeah.
You mean Lilith and Adam?
right, sure.
What? Lilith.
Who is Lilith?
In
Lilith?
Hebrew myth, Adam's first wife was Lilith.
Oh.
And
What?
it had something, I think it was something demonic. And he basically said, bye, bye.
And went straight to
And so
Eve, right?
God, according to the Bible, God took a piece of a rib
Mm-hmm.
and created Eve.
Ooh. Yeah, okay, that's the part I know.
Supposedly Lilith is the axe.
Is it
Lilith
axe?
The axe.
Oh, the axe.
The
Right.
axe.
First wife.
That's interesting.
She
I
probably is the
didn't
one that
remember that
put the
myth.
apple out there.
Right.
Look out there, look under.
Oh,
like,
Eve, eat this, Eve, yeah.
I think it's
Adam was mine.
I think it was talked about in the Old Testament, but it's been a while since I've read the Bible.
Yeah,
The,
it's been a
the
while
Old
since I
Testament
read the
doesn't
Bible.
speak something about
And it was
specifically,
yesterday.
But
it
it's
might be
definitely
in the
in
Talmud
Hebrew
and,
myth. Hebrew myth.
Like
It is.
about-
I'm not sure about the Old Testament though.
Can I share something?
Yeah,
Sure.
please, go ahead, Taylor. You haven't even
You've
got,
been
can you even,
sitting
can you say
there
hello to the
thinking-
camera, by the way? You haven't even looked
You've
at the
been sitting
camera.
there thinking,
I
and I've got
did
something to
too. Kind
say.
of, sort of. I like half it went like this.
Half looked at it.
Yeah.
Give it a full look. If you could.
There you go.
Yeah.
How's that? That'll do for like the next 3. Okay. So, I think like you were saying earlier, I think there are all different theories as to what, could have started a life and everything. I
You
don't
was
think
in
that
jail.
anybody,
You was in jail.
excuse me?
You
She
said,
agrees with Jill.
yeah, Jill.
Yeah,
Because
you're in jail.
you and Jill. No, you said you, and I was just trying to clarify for
Oh, I'm
people
sorry, I'm
that it's
sorry.
Jill
Oh,
that
no,
you're
it's
talking
okay.
about.
No, just because people can't see who you're pointing to.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I'm just saying,
Okay.
it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think that any, I don't want to say this for sure because maybe somebody can know, maybe somebody does know and just doesn't know yet, but I feel like nobody can really know for sure exactly why we put it or when or how, how it happened. So I'm saying if you're going to have all these different theories as to how that happened, I mean, maybe you can either include them all or include none of them. You know what I mean? I don't think it's fair to exclude some of them, even if you don't agree with it, even if it is like Satanism. I feel like, you can have, everybody has different theories, and I feel like some of them have, I don't think any of them have more chance of being correct than others, just because it's hard to like put facts or to prove something that isn't in front of you, isn't necessarily in front of you. Maybe that's really possible. Why are you looking like that?
Because I just want to fire off right now and be
Okay,
like, no, I think you can find out stuff without, I think you can find out stuff without it being directly in front of you. I mean, mathematics is a perfect practice. I think it's no surprise that that the Earth is made of carbon, right? I mean, you look at the periodic table,
Most
carbon, hydrogen, oxygen,
Helium.
right?
Mhm.
Helium, right? And then you look at us. Is it no mistake that we are carbon-based and live off H2O and oxygen? Do you think that just happened out of the blue? I think it happened because of the Earth. We came from the Earth, which I think that you can. What my point is, I think that you can prove things even though it's not right in front of your face. I think there is a universal law. I agree with the philosophers and the scientists that there is a universal law that makes us there's universal truths out there that we have not discovered yet, obviously, because a lot of things are outside of our
We just found a
senses.
tiny little bit of something huge.
So, yeah, and on top of that, a lot of things are outside of our senses, like quantum physics and the black holes. Doesn't make sense to us because it's not meant to. Our senses were not meant to make sense of what's going on out there. A lot of things that happen in outer space are nothing that happens on Earth. So I think what I'm trying to say is that I believe that you can find things out even though it's not in front of your face.
Okay, well, I can probably take back what I said about if it's not ready, because people will also argue, well, there is a God, I mean, there's air. I'm saying, you can prove that something's not, like you were saying, you can prove something's not, it is real, even if it's not right in front of you, because we're breathing somehow, right?
And
I feel like if there's something that, is not, like, can it be, if you're breathing, yeah, that's something, but, you know what I'm saying? If you have to think about what's the difference between air and God, you would have to, like, think that way.
See, I
Like,
think God, I guess it all depends on
is
your
air can be
perception of
proven,
God.
Can God be proven? It's, it's the same, like, are they the same thing? Can you really compare the two? Because that's what I think, like, that's how I see what you're saying. Maybe it's not exactly what you're saying, but.
I think with the
you know.
God thing, it all depends on your perception of God. See, I think God is universe. I think God is truth. I think God is everything. So I think
very
I think
similar to that.
air and God are the same thing. I think air and the earth are the same thing. And I think God and the universe are the same thing.
Mhm.
And I want to say something here too, because I'm like a lot of people, I just don't know. I'm one of these people, if I don't hit, like, I know he's here because I can sit here and go like this, but I can't see God. And the difference between God, creationism, and evolution.
Mhm.
We all know where all the parts for all this stuff came from. That we know a lot of the process here, and that's why that's taught in school.
Mhm.
And creation is mainly in the Christian schools, the Catholic schools, or wherever in church. Can't prove it. That's why a lot of this stuff, and the separation of church and state. I think it was Jefferson or Jackson who talked about the separation of church and state. This is after blowing up on
Mhm.
that. Talked about it's absolutely important because you don't want to be like the Church of England. We have one official religion. We were given in the First Amendment to worship however you want,
Mhm.
or not.
Well, I want to know what makes something theory and what makes something fact. Because
Um,
everybody will call evolution creationism theories, but how could you possibly go about proving that
Well,
if it's something that you can figure out?
Theories are ideas, concepts that go through the scientific method, hypothesis and conclusion,
Okay.
experiments.
Mhm.
That's why I'm sorry, going on a little bit of a tangent here, but that's why I think evolution is taught before creationism, because it goes through a fair process of elimination.
Right.
We accept it through a process. We have to, scientifically, we have to take things out and to draw a conclusion on things, to make sure they're solid, they have to go through a process of elimination.
Mhm.
And I think that's where fact comes in. This cannot be, the grass cannot be green because, like, water, right? Let's take water for instance, right? I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just trying to say. I'm trying to give you a scientific example
Right.
of how we can prove something as
Prove the
fact.
difference between a scientific process and a belief system.
And I think that's why the scientific method
So
is taught in
at least-
school, because it's not
right.
off.
So what we're doing through science, like trying to figure out a new drug, you're going over steps. You can't do that with belief.
Yeah, belief's just like, that's the way it is
You
because
can't
that's the way it
prove-
is.
There aren't really
Prove it to
steps
me,
there,
is
and
what
that's
science
the difference
says.
between science and
Yeah.
belief. And there are scientists out there that are trying to prove that God exists.
But do you have
There
to
are.
prove with the scientific method that something's real? Like,
Well,
some
you
people
don't
say
have
science
to.
is the answer to everything.
I
I'm
know.
saying you can't say just because it's scientifically proven that because maybe some things can transcend beyond that. You don't know.
Right.
Right,
So
But,
that's why
you know,
they all have a
I
chance
think
to
it's
be
I think
And
it's a
that's
good
what
thing,
God
because what
is,
if you
and
can't
God's
prove
outside.
scientifically that God exists?
then that
I think
means
God
it
is
doesn't
science.
exist.
I don't think,
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I think
just saying
science
that,
is
but
true.
what if we can't?
I guess like you said, it all depends on your perception of God.
But
Um,
it's a higher power. It's not like physical.
Both
it's all
scientists,
space.
physicists, and religion folk, they agree on the same thing. I mean, if you know anything about the Higgs boson particle and all of that,
Mhm.
everybody points back to one single spark, one single origin of everything. So whether you believe that's God or whether you believe that's science, either way, it seems like we're all seeking the same thing, kind of like what Jay was
Right.
saying.
Right. You want to know why we're here, how it happened.
The thing of it is, and to answer again, and it's just like how Jay was saying, a theory is tested general suppositions. So people generally believe that this is true, but we don't know for sure. It's still subject to experimentation. The same thing, and let's be honest with ourselves,
Mhm.
the Bible is confusing,
Yeah.
you know? And at the very beginning, it's using very confusing words and doctrines, the same both in English and in Hebrew
Mhm.
and in Greek. So God says it only took a few days to get this done, but it
That's
says
the
that
metaphor.
But
Yeah.
but the
Could be
day is like,
metaphor.
I think the Bible says the day is like 1,000 years.
exactly, and 1,000 years in Hebrew actually means an eternity. So are we talking like it's an arbitrary
Right.
number,
Mhm.
you
Like
know?
you were saying earlier, some things change like meaning over time also. You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So to something as grandiose as that, we may come to an answer later on. We may not.
Yeah.
But my opinion is I agree with how Taylor is saying it, that if we're going to teach creationism, then we should be careful and use all
Everything.
all schools of thought. The thing with me though is creationism feels like purely a doctrinal principle or religious principle. So that being said, where's the line drawn there again? The other thing I want to point out just real quick, Darwinism was a fantastic foreground.
It was a good
and it was
start.
a good, yeah, it was
Not
a good
everything was a good
foundation.